It was the Monday right after our highly successful VBS Camp Firelight. It had gone so well with over 60 kids and teens involved for that week. We thought now we can take a much needed break. We'd had a record number of rentals in the spring and in the summer, the most ever. We'd had many special Sunday mornings, and the Vacation Bible School was over for another year. Then I got a call from Nicole. Now, one of my long-term goals has always been to put a shower here in the church somewhere. This is not what I had in mind. But there was so much water coming through the new light fixtures in our commercial kitchen, you could have had a shower. It was also running downstairs. So, as Tricia said, quickly was gathered together a work team. For there was water coming in on 3 different levels of the church building. Thankfully, none in here, which is so hard to repair with the plaster. We only canceled one evening jazzercise rental class. But both summer camps, using the building for the rest of the summer, kept functioning that day and the rest of July and August. And while the water coming in was relatively clean, it was roof water that had come through various vents. Eventually, when we had things relatively under control here, I went home to the manse. There was 6 inches of sewage in the 3 rooms in the basement of the manse. That July 15th superstorm, over those 3 hours, was the largest downpour of water in this area since Hurricane Hazel in 1954. It upended the rest of the summer and continues to upend church life here well into the fall. There will be major work still ahead at the church and the manse. Over Christmas break, the ceilings in the lower hallway below Bronte Hall, in that foyer where there's the washroom, the caretaker's office, and the interior ramp, will all be taken down and replaced. It won't affect worship here or activities in Bronte Hall. The manse is in the process of having 5 appliances replaced. Already the furnace has been replaced. Some, but not all of this, will eventually be covered by insurance. But there are substantial non-budgeted deductibles as well as some non-budgeted new upgrades that we will have to make at both buildings. The climate is changing, and we have to take action to avoid a similar flood in the future. Now, the story of Jesus today in the Bible is about James and John. They're rather competitive. They want to be Jesus number 2. These positions, however, were denied to them. Instead, Jesus says, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. Not your boss, your servant. I thought of those words of Jesus today in our reading. And that volunteer crew of staff and volunteers who are on July 15th trying to mop up water. It was running like a creek down the interior ramp outside of the lower washroom. The message today and next Sunday is called Behind the Scenes. Do you know that expression? The phrase behind the scenes refers to activities or events that occur outside of public view, often in the context of where there's a performance, production, or operation. If you ever worked as a stagehand in the technical or costume or staging of a play, you know how important that is. But the audience never sees it unless something goes wrong. But those behind-the-scene activities, workings, are critical to the final outcome. What the audience sees. So much of what the congregation, as a congregation, does is behind the scenes. Tricia, Susan, and myself are attempting to share with you Walton behind the scenes. And most people, I'm sure some of you here today, have never heard of the flood until this moment. Behind the scenes is not what happens here from 10 to 11 on Sunday morning, but what happens the other 167 hours of every week. Congregation, we never know what the next text, the email, the messenger, the phone call, the letter, or the walk-in to the office will bring. In those 167 hours each week, so much ministry and mission takes place by the incredible number of volunteers we have and the staff who are servants, as Jesus calls them today. Recently, I took a call from a lady whose company wanted to make a large donation of food and supplies, both to the Walton Kitchen and to the Walton Outreach Program. I was thrilled when I heard the details of this large donation. It included everything from coffee and cookies for social time and coffee hour to many needed foodstuffs for our local food bank. The caller wanted to drop it off to me that day after she was finished work. I agreed I would wait around until dinner time or beyond until she arrived to receive that donation. The person told me first she had to do a sales call very near the church. She had to make this sales call on this certain street, which she named. I said to her, I think I know all the streets near the church. Could you tell me where this street is that you're doing this sales call at? I'd never heard of it before. And the caller said, you know the one, it's right near the church. It's just off the I-75. Then the ball dropped. I said to her, where do you think you're calling? And she said, the Walton Christian Church in Walton, Kentucky. I said, this is the Walton United Church just west of Toronto, Canada, that you have reached. Well, we had a good chat. We had a laugh. I thanked her very much for this incredible donation. Instead, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. And there's servants in every congregation. There are servant Christians, whether here in Southern Ontario or in Kentucky. Now, we are regularly contacted by people who want to make donations to the church who actually live in Southern Ontario. To donate things like coats for the coat drive. Great success Saturday? Huge. That's what social media said. Huge success, coat drive. Thank you. Food for the food bank. And we had so much last week. Excess party gifts like frozen turkeys. We get those from Christmas company parties. People donate Sunday school supplies, and teachers who get so many teachers' gifts at Christmas and so many gift cards and food treats, they bring them to us and we hand them out to people in need. Now, just for the record, we also get probably every 6 months a donation of an organ, every month a donation of a piano, of a great organ, and we have some great pianos, so I suggest you find another home, but we appreciate people's generosity. While we may not take organs, house organs, we do, by the way, take cash, we do take checks, we take e-transfers, we take PAR, and we take stock. We take credit card donations. I'm not sure about Bitcoin, but maybe Stu can update us on that status. This is behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Walton has published church hours for everyone, including Mr. Google, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 1 p.m., or as we say, by chance or appointment. However, most of the staff work virtually and remotely every day, wherever they are. They're on their phones all week long, and there's seldom a day during a week where there's not one or more of the staff working in the office. Now, why am I telling you this? What does it have to do behind the scenes? This is stewardship time in Walton. We hope you've received, either by email or by Canada Post, your behind-the-scenes letter from Tricia and Susan, along with myself as the Stewardship Committee. If not, let us know. Now, did you know Walton's largest expenditure by far, nearly 70% of the budget, is staff and benefits? Walton is blessed with over 100 volunteers who regularly serve. Now, we know we have a lot more who do serving for certain events or activities, but this is people who regularly serve. We are the largest United Church in Oakville, the third largest in the area west of Toronto, into Hamilton, around the Bay to Niagara. And one of the reasons Walton has become what it is we've invested in volunteers and we've invested in staff. Not only volunteers and staff who do good service, but they tend to stick around. Servants who are there through the ups and downs. Leadership, servant leadership, is about the time, the talent, and the treasure. Incredible generosity. The people use their gifts behind the scenes in so many ways to make our worship, our service, our learning, our fellowship possible. Now, each year for the United Church, we have to fill out statistics. And one of the things they want to know are active, identifiable giving households. Sounds very technical. It basically means how many households, whether one person or 12, donate regularly each year. We have 303. In February's annual meeting, this past February, we passed the budget. And according to the budget, we should, at the end of September, have a deficit of $81,500. That's significant. Patricia said the actual deficit for the end of September is $29.50. That's a huge improvement. That's $52,000 improvement. Well done. But we realize it's still a deficit. We made the $52,000 improvement by behind-the-scenes controlling costs. A huge increase in our rental business, and the incredible generosity of giving by both members of the congregation and the staff. We're working hard every day to reduce that deficit significantly. Thank you for your part in that. Behind the scenes. On Wednesday morning, October 2nd, Ricky, our caretaker, was out on his truck right by the ramp here at the Allen entrance, standing in the back of his truck on the bed. And Val and I were quietly writing upcoming services and sermons in the offices. Then 2 huge bangs rang out. We jumped out. We ran out towards Ricky. We thought, is he okay? Has the lid of the dumpster next door fallen on someone? Has there been a car crash? Did someone smash into his truck? Then we thought it was an explosion. Finally, we thought, gunshots. So Val and I headed right outside to Ricky. There in front of us, in this incredible scene that played out in 1 minute and 22 seconds, according to the record of Walton's security cameras, but it seemed like forever, for everything slowed down. Police were all over the church parking lot with police cars and trucks and 2 police dogs. Some were in uniform, most were undercover. I went over the Walton's wooden fence into the apartment backyard. The condo visiting parking lot was a place of a massive police chase. 2 suspects were caught and taken away in a police car. Another one of the thieves was caught along Lakeshore Road. The police had been following some car thieves down Bronte Road, and this takedown all happened there in front of the apartment. And those were flashbangs that we heard. So very quickly, we locked and secured the building. As this was unplaying, was happening for the safety and the well-being of the building, of course, the people who were in the building. This version of the TV show Cops took place in the Walton parking lot. Well, it was hugely exciting. It was a great story. It was wonderful to watch again and again on the security cameras. They are not being shared, obviously, because so many undercover police would be identified. But except staff time, it had no cost to it. But it gives you some idea of what takes place behind the scenes. The other day, Nicole was into the office before I was, and I called her to check in, and she said I had an officer beside me using my phone. Nicole explained that they were looking for a missing adult here in Bronte and wondered if our security cameras had caught that individual going by the church. And they were looking through our security cameras. So Nicole assisted. That's exactly one of the reasons we have the cameras. Fortunately, the individual was found. It wasn't a criminal matter. But it gives you some idea of what happens behind the scenes. We never know what each day will bring. And it wasn't just July 15th. And we won't know financially for a while that unexpected storm and the unexpected financial hit. I wish I could tell you how much the storm is going to cost us. As I said, it will take months and probably will run into the 2025 budget. It will certainly be a 5-figure amount. How big? Only time will tell. So what we hope we've done is give you some idea of behind the scenes. That's only made possible because of you. Those here today, the many who watch virtually. And the many who watch virtually are not only here in Bronte, but across the country and beyond Canada. It's behind the scenes. Your servant-like serving, your use of time and talent, the use of your donations that allows us to be the ministry, the place of fellowship, the place of worship it is. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your serving. Let us pray.